Hi everyone. So my name is Ha and I'm a postdoc at the Universidad Carlos III in Madrid. And to be honest, it's my first time to present in a huge conference room like that. And I would like to thank UNU-WIDER for giving me the opportunity to present here. So today I'm talking about my paper, Unintended Consequences of Conditional Cash Transfer Program on Gender Attitudes. So we know that gender norms pose a significant challenge to gender equality. Why that? It's because gender norms can lead to limited opportunity for women, and moreover, it can endorse the harmful practice. For example, like the domestic violence or some other very harmful practice for women. And And we also know that gender norms are persistent and resistant to change. Therefore, it's very important for us to understand which factors that contribute to the formation and evolution of gender norms. And in recent years, there is an emerging in literature that focuses on the effect of public policy on gender norms, particularly in developed countries. For example, the program Earned Income Tax Credit in the United States. Bastian, in the paper in AEG Economic Policy, he documented that the program leads to more support for the working mothers. Or in the context of Europe, many people are working on the paternity leave, and they found that the paternity leave reshaped the gender norm, both of the first generation, which is the mother and the father, but also the second generation, which is the children of those eligible father. However, we know very little about the effect of policy on gender norm in developing countries. So in this paper, this is exactly the question that I try to address in this paper. Do policy affect the gender attitude of the next generation in developing countries? And I focus on Juntos program in Peru. And these, like other programs, cash transfer program in Latin America, they try to provide the financial support to poor households. And the mother are primary recipient of the cash transfer, and moreover, they are responsible to fulfill the condition of the program. So the hypothesis in this paper is that the cash transfer may influence children's gender attitude by changing the gender role pattern within the household. And to claim the causal effect, I just employed the fuzzy regression discontinuity design. In the simple word, I just compare children from the household just above and just below the program eligibility threshold. So now let me talk a little bit more about the Juntos program. So it's the largest conditional cash transfer program, and like other programs in Latin America, they try to alleviate poverty and break the intergeneration transmission of poverty through the investing in human capital. And in this program, they provide the fixed amount to the household. So it's 100 soles, which is equivalent to $30 US. And if you compare to the minimum wage of Peru in 2005, it accounts for 22% of the minimum wage. And in this program, they have the condition to children. So the children up to 19 months old, they need to take part in the health and nutrition care. And for children above 6 years old, they need to attend school at least 85% of the time. And for the pregnant woman, they need to attend the healthcare checkup. And in the program, according to administrative data, the mother are assigned to the recipient, like 90% of them. And they, after receive the money, they also need to sign an agreement to fulfill the condition about the health and education. And for the selection process, it contains two stages, two levels of choosing the household that are eligible. So in the first stage, they choose the eligible district. And in the second stage, within the eligible district, the household with a pregnant woman or children up to 19 years old, they will be eligible if they have the household poverty score exceeding a cutoff. And the household poverty score here, in Peru, they calculate based on the linear combination of different household characteristics, because in developing countries, it's very difficult to have the information about the income. So in order to find the effect on the gender attitude of the next generation, I used data from Peruvian Young Life Study. So I used the data of 1,119 children who were 15 years old in 2016. and I only focus on eligible district. And so my outcome variable of interest is the gender attitude. So I employ from the psychology literature is the attitude toward the woman's scale for adolescent. So in this one, they have 12 statements about whether the children will agree or disagree with the statement related to gender role. And here, by building on the previous literature, I classify the gender attitude into 3 sub-index, including the behavior, equality, and power. So for example, in the behavior dimension, like it can have a statement like swearing is very bad for women, or in equality, you can have the statement like women are less smart than men, or in the power dimension, you can have the question like son education is more important than the girl education. And from this statement, I convert, so in the beginning, it was the Likert scale statement, and then I converted them into the dummy variable. So 1 equal to agree with traditional roles, and 0 mean that they do not agree with the traditional roles. And the index, I have a very simple index. I just have the average of 12 dummies, and the interpretation of this index is that the higher index means that more traditional gender role. So here's the first set of my result. So when I use the juntos, which is a variable interest, juntos equal to 1 if the children belong to the house that participated in the program, and 0 otherwise, I do find that the beneficiary children, they exhibit nearly 40% percentage point increase in the agreement with traditional role. And it's a very big effect if you compare to the control group mean, which were 0.32. And moreover, in which dimension that the effects are more pronounced? I found that in the poverty, in the power and the equality dimension, the effects are most pronounced in that one. And next, the next set of the question is about the effect of the program on school attendance and test score. So in the left finger is the effect on boys, and then in the right finger is the effect on girls. And we do see that there is no effect on the school attendance for both gender. And we do find the beneficiary girls, they score like 20% lower in both reading and mathematics compared to the non-beneficiary girls. For boys, actually, it shows an improvement in the reading score, but there is no there is no significant effect on the math score. And then one concern about this study is about whether the attitude is really translated into the behavior. So for answer this question, I examine the effect of the program on the time use of children and also the higher education enrollment. So because of the Young Life survey, they also have the COVID phone survey in 2019. And at that point, the children were 19 years old, and I can observe whether they attend any higher educational organization. So especially here, I saw that beneficiary girls, they are 36% less likely to enroll in higher education. So it's very interesting finding. It's because the attitude that they had when they were 15 years old are actually translated for their educational choice when they were 19 years old. And then for boys, they reduce the time spent on home production, which is also aligned with the traditional gender role that they had before. And now, so now the next question is why that happened. So as I mentioned before, the hypothesis of this paper is a potential change in the gender pattern within the household. And so based on that, I try to look at the effect of the program on maternal time allocation. And from this one, I used the data from round 4 of the Young Life study. And I found that actually mothers, they shift their time from working to homemaking. So in this survey, they have the question, what is the most important activity in terms of time spent in the last 12 months? They asked mother. And what mothers say is that, okay, so for juntos mother, they are more likely to prioritize their time on doing housework or being housewife, and less likely to spend time on self-employment or other unstable job. And next, so this outcome before is from the intensive margin of the labor market outcome. Now I look at the extensive margin of the labor market outcome. So in order to use that, I use a bigger survey, which is the demographic and health survey. And it's in the Peru context, they did the survey every year from 2004 until 2016. And from that, I linked that data with the administrative data of the district level about the rollout of the program. And here's why I also employed the method in differences from the paper of Sun and Abraham in 2021. And here's what I found. So actually, which is aligned with my result before, the mother, the beneficiary mother, they are less likely to participate in workforce. And also for the self-employment, they are also less likely to do any self-employment activity. So this result, even from a bigger survey, also aligned with my result from Young Life survey. And then we also see that the labor supply decreased. Okay, so there is another part of the program is that the woman need to be responsible for the fulfilling the program. And now I want to see the conditioning effect. So I use data from 2014 provincial survey of rural household in Peru. And in this survey, they covered 25,700 beneficiary households. And from the survey, I saw that nearly 93% of the women who were the one who go to the center to collect the money. And here is the average travel time that they use to collect the cash transfer by the transportation mode. And you can see that there are many ways that they go to collect the transfer. They can walk, they can use the bus, they can share the vehicle, they can use the truck, the van. But on average, they spend around 152 minutes to go to collect the money from the program. And they also need to spend the resources from their own to collect the money. They spend, on average, 4.43 soles to go to collect the money. And the next one, I try to use another survey just to look at the effect of the program. So I use the Peruvian time use survey in 2010. So in this survey, I have the information of around 1,800 ever married women. And I do see that the program leads to, for the mother who participate in the program, they spend more time on childcare, both in the weekdays and both in the weekend. And you can see here, like in the weekday, they spend like 2 hours more to take care of their children. And on the weekend, like 60 minutes more to take care of the children. And what interesting is that if you look at the household organization, so in this category, they have information about whether you spend time to go to collect the cash transfer, whether you spend time to bring children to the health checkup and everything. And you clearly see that in the weekday, the mother, they spend 56 minutes more just to go to fulfill the condition of the program. So, to conclude my paper, so in this one, I have the story about the Juntos program that lead to more traditional gender attitude among children. And actually, that though attitudes are aligned with their behavior, boys spend less time on household chores and girls are less likely to pursue higher education. I provide some mechanisms, including the reduce of maternal labor force participation, the shift in time priority to homemaking, and some suggestive evidence on the conditionality burden. So the implication here is that policy in developing countries can affect gender attitude of children. And the unintended consequences on the children's gender attitude really challenge the use of mother as a tool to enhance the investment in the human capital. So thank you very much for attending the presentation. And if you have any questions, I would like to receive. Thank you.